Hi everyone, welcome to the first part of the tutorial on In My Life as arranged by Laurence Juber. As always, a quick thank you first to my top tier patrons. The first part of the tutorial will be released on YouTube. For full access to the whole archive, please check out my Patreon page. If you only need the tab or notation file, then click the music notes link down below in the description. A song by the great Laurence Juber was long overdue, and while preparing to tackle Tommy Emmanuel's Beatles medley, I decided to go over this one first. And there is good news. I've been getting more and more messages, more and more requests asking for something a little bit easier on the fingers, and this arrangement fits that description perfectly. This tune was on Mr. Juber's album LJ Plays the Beatles, which was released in 2000, a few years before Tommy Emmanuel burst onto the scene and raised the bar on what was possible on the acoustic guitar. Compared to the average Tommy Emmanuel song, this will hopefully be a little bit less demanding. Let's dive straight in. Okay, so let's get to playing then. Guitar is in standard tuning. No capo needed, no pick, no thumb pick, nothing, just plain fingers. Let me go through the intro once and I'll see you again on the other side. And that is already the lead into the first verse. 2 times the exact same thing, and you will have to play this little part a few more times during the rest of the song. We start out with an open D string, then a small bar across 2 strings on the 7th fret, G string and B string. You play the B string together with the open D bass string, then to the G string, and then you add the pinky to the 10th fret on the high E string. And back to the D string. Then you pick with the index finger and middle finger the G string and B string at the same time. You add the middle finger on the 8th fret and the ring finger on the 9th fret of the G and B string. And then there are 2 options. You can slide up. I think Mr. Juber just picks the note, and I've developed this habit of just sliding up that shape 2 frets. So instead of, you can go either picking, so bar, adding the middle finger and ring finger, and then shifting up 2 frets and just picking with the fingers again, or and just sliding up. So a full part. That's what you get if you pick, and now with the slide. But the fingerings are the exact same thing. And when you end up here, Mr. Juber switches to 3 fingers to a small A chord, 9th fret, 10th fret, 9th fret on the E string, B string, and G string. I find it a lot easier to just leave the middle finger where it is and add a small bar at the 9th fret across the G string, B string, and E string while holding down the middle finger at the 10th fret. Doing that, going for the bar, instead of playing a separately fretted finger on each string for that small D shape up there. So see what works for you. And then when you end up there, you just add a few open A bass notes. And just make sure you get the timing right. If I count along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the full part. And then you play the exact same thing a second time. And then the second time around, only 3 open bass notes, and then you move down to the open position, 2nd fret on the G string to an open B string, and then we're off into the verse. So these 2 notes are the pickup of the melody leading into the first verse. So let me play through that intro section really slowly one more time, and then we can already jump on to the next section. And then we head straight into the first verse. Let me play through that first verse a little bit below concert speed, and then as always the explanation will follow. Is already heading into the next part, and as you can see, it's 2 times the exact same thing, only that very last bass run leads into a different chord than the first time. So we start with those 2 melody notes, 2nd fret on the G string to an open B string, and then we simply add what looks like a D sus2 chord, only fretting 2nd fret on the G string, 3rd fret on the B string, and you don't need that 3rd fret right away. So you start out open D string, open E string, repick that 2nd fret on the G string, and now we add in the 3rd fret on the B string as well, and we just arpeggiate G string, B string, G string. Open E string on both ends of the guitar, low E string, high E string, and you switch that index finger from the 2nd fret on the G string to the 2nd fret on the D string. 2nd bass note with the thumb, so both E strings together, thumb to the D string, and then you add the middle finger to the 2nd fret on the high E string. That's all that happens. Those 2 chords back to back. And then a full bar across the 2nd fret, across all 6 strings, adding in the pinky on the 5th fret on the high E string. Going for an F sharp minor chord, and at the first beat you just roll across those strings, starting with the thumb on the low E string, and then index finger G string, middle finger B string, ring finger on the high E string. And you immediately release the pinky and pick down across the same strings. So rolling towards the high E string, repicking the high E string, the B string, and the G string. So, and then you move that bar up to the 5th fret, and you only need 4 strings in this case, so you don't actually need the bar to go across all 6 strings. 4 strings from the A string to the B string, and you just again roll across those 4 strings, thumb on the A string, index finger on the D string, G string and B string, and adding in the pinky on the 7th fret on the B string, ring finger 7th fret on the D string, giving you a D dominant 7th chord. The second time around, Mr. Juber only plays the D string, G string and B string, but if you want to add that A string in there a second time, it will sound fine. So just that small section. Those 2 bars all the way through. And then we drop back down to the open position, middle finger on the 3rd fret on the low E string, together with a high open E string on top. Just all open strings, open E string, D string, G string. Then you add the index finger on the 2nd fret on the high E string, and you pull back off to the open E string. You add in the pinky on the 3rd fret on the B string, the ring finger, 3rd fret, on the G string, and then the index finger, 2nd fret on the D string, giving you a G minor 6th chord. While you do that transfer, and this might be tricky, you try to keep that high E string ringing out as you land that next chord. So try not to cut that high E string short. And you don't have to put down the whole chord right away. You can put down the pinky and the ring finger, middle finger first, and then add in the index finger just a little bit later. And you just arpeggiate. You start out with the low E string and the B string together, and then just D string, G string, D string. And then to a full D chord, you start by playing the open D string and the G string together, and then 2 times the B string and high E string. And that is the full first 4 bars of the melody, and something that you will have to repeat quite often during this song. Let me play those last 2 bars one more time. Start the exact same way as we did the first time. We just add an open D string in there as well, and then 2nd fret on the G string, open B string, and we head into the repeat of the melody. Let me play those first 4 bars all the way through. And then the second time around is the exact same thing, just a little bit more up to tempo. 1, 2, 3. The exact same thing. Now, from this point on, things will change just a little bit. So first that D string and G string together. D string, open G string. And then adding the index finger, 2nd fret on the high E string, ring finger, 4th fret on the A string. Ultimately, after playing those 2 strings together, adding the middle finger to the 3rd fret on the high E string. And that open G string there really masks your transition into that next chord, so make good use of that. And that B minor chord is the first chord of the next section, the chorus. But before we head there, let me play through this verse one more time, really slowly. Into the next part. And that is all for the first part of the tutorial. For full access to the rest of the lesson, please head over to my Patreon page. You'll have the full video there, as well as the whole archive of fingerstyle tutorials I already finished. See you there.